Hi friends, it's me Nikki here. I hope you all are doing great. We are in my woman's cave, my studio, my craft room, whatever you want to call it. 3+ years ago, I gave you a tour of this space and took you on my journey of putting the space together. And I wanted to come back now because the space has changed a little bit and I did some tweaks to fit what my needs are today. And I wanted to come share tips also because many of you know, my husband's retired military, so we travel with the military, and oftentimes, all times, my craft spaces were small spaces such as a bin or a small closet. But that didn't matter to me. No matter what the size of my space, I made it my beautiful haven. I made it function for me. I did it on a budget. And now that I have a larger space, I use those same concepts to put this space together. So regardless of what type of space you have, you can make it function for you, and it can be your beautiful girl's cave, woman's cave. And let me share those tips with you today, along with give you some updates on my space. So my first tip is to designate the space. So if it's going to be a closet or a bin or a room, know where you're going to set up your craft space. And once you have that, you know that you can start your plan of where you're going to put everything. So now that you have the space designated, you can sit down with a piece of paper, draw out the space, where you want to put things, kind of how you want to organize things, and then move into my second tip, which is to commit to your color. Because craft rooms can often have a lot of things and stuff, you want to commit to having a nice, beautiful color that inspires you, that you can incorporate throughout the space to keep everything looking neat, orderly, and consistent. By choosing a color, it will help you keep the room looking calm, and you can then organize all of those things and that stuff in a beautiful manner. So commit to a color, and that's the color that you're going to have in your head while you're shopping for your organizational solutions, while you're painting your walls, and while you're putting your space together. So now I want to take you through my wall cabinet here. I'm not doing the whole space today because it will take forever. So I'm breaking these videos up and kind of showing you area by area. And I'll take you through the cabinets and I'll share my tips and show you kind of the updates as I share the tips. Now in this first cabinet here, this is where I keep a variety of things. And you'll notice I'll keep a variety of things throughout my craft space because I do a variety of things in my woman's cave craft room. So on the first cabinet here, in the first cabinet here, is where I have the bins and I have canisters and a combination of things. Now starting with the canisters, these are canisters that typically go in your kitchen. I got them years ago offline, you may remember these, but they function so well for storing my blades and crafting tools and things like that. Now with the canisters, this is something that you definitely can do. If you don't find these exact canisters online, I can't remember where I got them, but you can take mason jars. And with the mason jars, they have this paint now. I saw it in Lowe's where you paint the inside of the jar and it gives the same effect here. That's an affordable way to get the same look, but it's great for storing those things like your blades, equipment blades for like your crafting tools, printer cartridges, and replacement cartridges and things like that. And so that's what I use it for, and it has been functioning great over the years, and so I kept this in the same manner. These canisters are actually a very nice size, so they can hold a lot, so I like that about it. And then I can easily go into that cabinet, look and get to whatever I need, get my cartridges for my inkjet, that's my smaller printer, get it there and store it away nicely. It looks beautiful, it functions, and it was budget friendly. Now if we move up to the second shelf above that, I use these boxes here that I got from At Home, and I got these recently. This is an update, so if you're looking for something like this, check At Home because you may be able to still find them, and they're very affordable. I want to say this was like $5 for the box, but I think that's very reasonable for something that stores a lot and you're going to be able to get a lot of use out of. Now in the 3 boxes here, I store a variety of things. The first one, I keep kind of these dollar store pockets, kind of sleeves that I use for when I'm doing packets and a variety of things. The second box is my stickers box where I keep stickers in here that I typically don't use anymore, so that when my friends' kids come over, they love to come in my craft room and craft and make scrapbooks and things like that. And so I'll give them this box and let them have at it. I don't mind at all. And so I keep kind of like my stickers in there for friends and things like that. And then the third box is for cards, crafting cards. I keep all of the little crafting cards in here so that I can easily get to them. And then on the side here, got it at home also, are two kind of magazine holders, and I keep my crafty magazines in one and my home magazines in the other, and it really just keeps them neat and easy to get to them. Now on the top shelf, you'll notice I have this bin here that I got from Tuesday Morning. I think it was under $4 or $5, but it's perfect to store our batteries. You know, I have a rechargeable battery unit that I typically use, but here are extra batteries in case we need them for remotes or anything. But they sit in here perfectly. You don't have to see the batteries, but it functions for me. So moving into the middle cabinet here, I kind of have a random item on the top shelf here. These binders are my tax binders, and basically I didn't want to invest in another file cabinet because we have one for our home personal use. I use my desk for my kind of At Home with Nikki things, but for my At Home with Nikki taxes and things like that, I didn't want to get a file cabinet. So I just used this shelf up here, and with our taxes, I like to file each tax year in a binder, and you know, we keep our taxes 10, sometimes 12 years. So I just have a binder per year, but they're just stacked up there. Now the bottom shelf rather here is where I keep my laminators and also my framing items. And these bins are these kind of fabric bins. You can get from Target, you can get them from discount stores like Big Lots, and you can get them $5. Very affordable, stores a lot, and looks great. Now in the laminator one here, I have two laminators, and I just keep them in here so that I can easily get to them. And then I have my framing tools. You guys know I'm a certified art framer. I like to frame pictures and things like that, and I just keep all my tools thrown in here. But when you look at it, it's very clean, but when I need to get whatever I need to get, all my tools, I can easily get to it. So not too much of a change from this next cabinet. This is where I keep a lot of those random items that I use as I make jewelry and do different things. Now with the plastic bins, I got those from Target some years ago. I think they may still sell them. I did relabel them using these dollar store labels. They come 18 in a pack, and they have the little pocket in there where you can slide some decorative paper in. I always put my label on the outside so that if I need to change it, I can just peel it up. It's not actually on the paper where I would have to change out the paper, or it might damage the paper. So always put your labels on the outside. Now my next tip is to use different textures. When organizing your closets or your craft room, use fabric bins, use boxes, use canisters. Don't do all plastic because it can tend to look kind of like you just went and purchased a bunch of bins and threw them in your space. But if you incorporate the different textures, like the glass canisters here with the boxes, a little bit of the plastic bins, it gives you a kind of, you know, I don't know how to say this, but it's just a better overall look. It doesn't look like you open your cabinet and you have all these plastic bins. So that's my tip, is to incorporate different textures. Now my next tip is everything has to have a place. And you all know with a craft space, there's so much stuff. So it's so important that you identify where you're going to put everything. And so that's why I have everything labeled, and I have a place for everything that I love, the things that I need to get to. For example, I am the clipboard queen. I love a clipboard. I use them at home. I use them on the go. They're just always convenient for me. So I have a place for all my clipboards. So I can easily go here in my woman cave and know where all my clipboards are. I have a planner box at the top where I can keep all my planner supplies. I can keep them in there. Also for my iPhone cases and my iPad cases, I have a space for that. That box can, you know, I put all of that in there. And I can do a video on my other channel if you want to see all my iPhone cases and things like that. So having a space for everything. Now let's move to the bottom cabinets here, because I want to take you through those. So with the bottom cabinets, more of those things that I use, and I used to do a lot of kind of girl nights in where my girlfriends would come over the house and we would either do kind of crafts or make jewelry and have wine or coffee, just sit around. It's just an excuse to get together, and I'm going to start doing that again. I have not done that in so long, and so, you know, I have some friends that I would love to have come over, and we can work in our planners, or we can do Pinterest party, or we can do jewelry making, whatever, just the point of getting together. But I always like to keep a lot of multiples of things so that when they come over, they can easily come in the craft room, get what they need, and function. And a lot of times when family comes up for the holidays, I'll do like jewelry making parties and things like that. So I do have multiples of items that, you know, craft items, and that's why, because I oftentimes would have these kind of party things. And so in this drawer, I have hand lotion in the back there, because when you're working with paper crafts, your hands get really dry. I have pencils and tools and glue sticks and tape, all those general things that you need when crafting, easily able to get to here. And I just pull the drawer out and I'm good to go. Now below that, I have this shelf here where I keep also additional crafting tools here. But I love that you can look and you don't have to see all the stuff, but it's open organization so that I can easily get to it. And I got these bins from Tuesday Morning for I think under $5, but they work perfectly. Along with, I got this little container here from Target that fits my hot glue guns perfectly. And I always, a secret tip, invest in your hot glue guns when they have them on sale at Michael's or AC Moore. Get them for $1.99. That way you can stock up on them so that when you have a bunch of friends over to craft, everybody can have their own glue gun. And then in the other bin, I just have the crafting clamps so that, you know, if you have any projects you need to hang up, you can clamp them here. I kind of have the tape here, you know, the tape rollers here, along with additional tape. But again, I love the fact that you don't have to see everything, but you can easily get to it because it's open storage. The box below, I keep all of my cutters in there. And on that last shelf, I keep my kind of UV light there that I use for making jewelry. It fits nice in this little kind of bin that I got from At Home. I can close it off, and I don't use it too often, but when I need it, it's there. And then in this crafting boards, this is an old Tiffany box from a friend sent me some goblets, and I just keep my hole punchers in there and my crafting kind of board so that you don't damage the table. You can use those if you're doing something that kind of, you may damage the table. So in the cabinet in the center beside there is where I keep things like, on top here I have my cleaning caddy, and this is so that I can kind of keep that craft room clean. Now beside it you'll see that white box which I got from At Home, and in that I keep kind of my tools like my heat gun and some other crafting tools, easily able to get to them. And then sitting on top of the boxes, I got this caddy, I want to say from Target, and I just keep general cleaning items in there, along with these kind of drawers, more of these drawers that I got from At Home to store those things like I like making cards, so I keep all my card materials and envelopes in this top one here. And then in the drawer below that, I keep more of my invitation envelopes, because again, these are things that I do, you know, things that I love to do. So that's what you have to incorporate into your space. So you make sure it fits you. That's the key thing. Whatever you enjoy doing, that's how you kind of tweak your space and make things easily accessible for you. Now in the next drawer I keep command strips, and we usually buy these as we need them, but I wanted to have a space for the extras, and so that's why you don't see really too many there. The next drawer I keep my templates and kind of rulers and just a variety of things that I use for crafting. And in the next drawer is where I keep all my labels when I'm doing home organization projects around my home or with friends and things like that. All those label type of items I keep in this drawer so that I can easily get to them when I need them. And then in that last drawer is where I keep my post-it notes. I just kind of have them tucked away there. And so everything has a place. I can easily get to it, and it functions so well for me. Oh, and I have to talk about my little trash bin. I got it from Tuesday Morning, and this is what I use to put the little paper items in as I'm crafting to keep my craft room neat. I can just kind of throw them in this little trash bin and then dump it when I'm done. Now the next cabinet is where I keep my paper, and I keep you know, that variety of stuff like that. And so I love these kind of, you know, in trays or just little stackable trays that you can put your paper in so that I can easily see the amount of paper I have, what color papers I have. I can easily get to them when I need it. It just really keeps things convenient, and that's key in your craft room, is keeping things convenient and at your fingertips. Now the next tip is you have to have that easy access, and so that's why these trays are perfect, because I don't have to pull them out of anything. When I need paper, I can go here, put it in my printer, and I am good to go. And I love the fact that I can see all the different colors, and it is inspiring, but it's not overwhelming to me. You know, I don't want to see tons and tons of paper, but I want to be able to get to those general papers that I need. Now the box below that, this is where I keep all of my gel pens, and I love keeping them in this box because when I'm working in my planner or doing anything where I need to use them, I pull it out, put it on my craft table, and then I can simply get to all my gel pens. I have them categorized by color in these little inexpensive dollar pen cases that I got from, I want to say Office Depot, but I have, you know, each color in a bin there, but then I can pull out this box and be good to go. And the little basket next to it I got from Target, and it just has all my brand new kind of to-do pads. I just keep them tucked away there. Now moving on top of my little craft station on this wall here. So I don't like to keep too much here because I don't want it to look cluttered. When I come into my woman cave, I want everything to kind of look clean and neat, and I can easily get to those things, like I've said several times. So right here, this hasn't changed from the last tour, but I do keep my label makers in the little drawer here so that I can easily get to them. And for many of you who've asked, I have 3 label makers. I have 3 different price points with them. This Dymo here is a little more expensive. I think I paid around $80 for it. Really nice label maker, and I have really been enjoying it lately. It took me a while to kind of get acclimated with it because I'm so used to the other ones, but I love the fact that it doesn't use batteries. You just charge it and go. Now this one has been with me 12 years, 10 years, 14 years, I don't know, forever. It's just always been with me, but I did not pay a lot of money for it, but it lasts. It is a great labeler. It's a P-Touch, and I'll try to put all the descriptions, all the label makers in the description box below. I'm not sure if they still sell them, but this one here I got for a couple dollars when an office supply store was running a sale, and I jumped on it. It's a great labeler. It's a P-Touch Brothers also, and the thing about it is when I'm helping family and friends, I don't want to take my expensive labeler with me, my Dymo with me, in case something happens. So this is a great one to take on the go when I'm working on, on the go projects. And so all of the labelers are great, but you don't have to spend a lot of money on a labeler. You can just buy one for 10 to 15 bucks, and like I said, this one here, I've had this thing so many years and it still is Mr. Reliable. I mean, it is my go-to. Actually, I touch it before I touch any of the other ones. But again, you can definitely get an affordable label that works perfectly for you. But the key thing with your craft space is you have to label everything because it is so many items. You really need to be able to know where your items are, and by labeling, it's going to keep your craft room neat because you're going to know where to put everything, when you're done. So anything else on here is basically just general things that I use all the time. I have my Martha Stewart kind of scorer here, and this is kind of when I'm making invitations or anything like that. I can score it. You can also make boxes and do a lot of little crafting things with this. I can do a tutorial on it if you're interested, and then I have my cutter right beside that and just keep it very simple. So let's move to the long cabinets on both sides of my kind of unit here. Now in the first one here, this is where I keep a variety of things. I keep my cardstock, which is a thicker grade of paper, and I use cardstock all the time. And it's basically just a box here that I got from At Home again, and I have these hanging files in them, and I'm able to put my papers in here, easily get to them, and then I can kind of separate them by the color families because I like to keep them by color family so that when I'm going to work on a project, I can easily get to the type or the color of paper that I need. I got these hanging files from the C. Jane collection, I want to say at Office Depot. So Office Depot, I believe. But it functions great, and like I said, I can get to whatever paper I need, but it's tucked away so that I don't have to look at the papers all of the time. So use those office supply stores is another tip because they have some great organizational solutions that will work great in your woman's cave, so definitely don't discount that. The box below that, I keep my templates, and some of my old creative memory friends out there, you will remember these. Yes, I still use mine. I love them. This is what I use to kind of cut paper out into different shapes and things like that if I'm making invitations or I'm decorating with something or I need to make the paper into a circle. I'll use these templates with my cutter and it works so well, and so I'll never get rid of these until they get rid of me, but I love those there. Now the bowls here, these are what I use for when friends come over for crafting, because I've always noticed whenever I've had these types of get-togethers that having a little bowl by everyone's station or where they're crafting at has been convenient for them to put like their tools in, or if we're planning, you can put your pens in there, even if you want to drop your keys in there, just having that kind of little thing. And so I got these little, they're plastic, I got them from Tuesday Morning, they're stackable, inexpensive, but they serve the purpose. So when I have those parties, those kind of girly get-together parties, it works out great. So down low, I have more of these drawers, and I am a huge fan of these drawers that I got from At Home because they really function. They're a perfect size. They conceal the items, but you can easily get to them, and the labeling system is so nice. They have the little tabs there so you can just put your piece of paper in there. And if you're on my Instagram, AtHomeWithNikki, you remember I told you that I was going to be doing these updates, and so I finally got these updates done, and it's really working great for me. In the first drawer here is where I keep my jewelry findings, and these are just all those random things that I use when making jewelry or when I'm having my jewelry party. I have each box labeled. It's simply those jewelry boxes. The second drawer is where I keep my jewelry wire, and I just have it thrown in there, and that way I can easily get to it. And then the third drawer is where I keep my seed beads, very, very small beads that I use when I'm making kind of my flatware and things like that. I did a video on that before. I keep my other beads in a different part of my craft room, and I'll show you that later. But in this third drawer is where I keep all of my beadable items. And you guys know I like to make bead pins and things like that. And Karen Thomas, and I'll put her website below. She has a business where she sells a lot of beadable items, and I often use her as my resource. And, you know, it's just things like spoons and forks and writing pens and styluses, all kinds of things that you can bead up. And it's neat because during the holidays you can kind of switch it up and put different beads on them. So I just been having a lot of fun with, you know, with them and things like that. So I keep all those beadable items in there so that, you know, at Christmas time, if I want to make a cute little appetizer spoon, I can just kind of pull them out, make some, and put the little beads on there, change them out next year, whatever the case may be. So if you're interested, I'm not sponsored by Karen Thomas or anything like that, but if you're interested in the resource that I use or the video where I give you the tutorial on how to do this, I'll link them both below. But everything is kept here so that I can easily get to it. So the next drawer here is where I keep all of kind of my foil and different things like that, Heidi swap paper and things like that. You guys know I did a video showing you a tutorial on how I use the foil paper. You can use them to make those popular pictures now that you're using in dorm rooms or in your home. And I did a tutorial on how I made this one using that foil paper. Again, I'll link it below. And I also use it in my planner a lot. I like to kind of make full pages and things like that, so I keep those all there. And the next drawer here, I keep my project folders. When I'm working on a project for friends and family, a lot of times they may not have a home binder for their projects. And so I'll use this folder when I'm helping them to kind of keep all the stuff that I'm, my ideas and things for them in that folder. And then the next drawer there I have for just random office supplies so that I don't have to go downstairs in my home office when I'm working in my craft space. I just keep them all there. And then I kind of have some journals that I had picked up brand new that I hadn't used yet. I tucked them in the back there. And the last drawer is just for kind of paint brushes and things like that, so works out perfectly. Now the other long cabinet here, I have this kind of board here where I can write little notes to myself. It's just small, easy, simple, keep it right there on the door. And then I have my project bins here, and you guys remember this from my original video for some of my old friends out there that have been with me a while. Now these are 4 bins that I want to say I got from AC Moore, and I have them labeled project 1, 2, 3, and 4. This helps me keep my craft room from becoming a Clutterville, because every time I'm working on a project, I put it in a bin. So project 1 may be organized in my manuals. I'll put them in here so that when I want to work on this project, I pull project 1 bin, put it on my craft table, work on it, do whatever I want to do. If I don't finish the project, put everything back in the bin and tuck it away. That way I don't have all these things sprawled out all over my craft room, and I'm working on this project, that project, and before you know it, the craft room is a disaster. This saves you from having a disaster in your craft space, having project bins, because you can have different projects that you're working on and they have a space. So when you're not working on them, you have a space to put them. So I highly encourage this as one of the huge tips, is to have project bins for your different projects that you may be working on. So on the next shelf, you'll see those binders that I have, and those are my Pinterest binders. So I see all these things that I want to try on Pinterest, and I'll put them in these binders here, which I categorize by food, home, style. And so I'll just kind of put them in here, and if I ever get to it, they're here. The box beside that is where I keep trims. I am not a sewer by no means, but sometimes my husband and I will work on home projects, upholstery project or something, and we'll have trims and things like that, and I wanted to have a space to kind of store those items, and so that's the purpose there. And then the last shelf here is where I keep my sewing machine, and I am by no means a sewer. That is just some skill set that I do not have, and so I do have a little bit of my sewing items here, and this is all that I have. But again, I have a place for it in case I do take a sewing class or start to learn to sew. I have everything here. And then on the top shelf, I have this fabric bin in which I keep my fabrics. And this is where I just keep the little random fabrics that I have. Not that I have a lot of fabrics because I'm not a sewer. And then in the bins here is where I keep a variety of things. The first one, I have my kind of binding sheets. I have a binding machine kind of where you can make little books and things like that. And so these are the covers here. I keep those there. And then in that second drawer, I keep all of my laminating sheets for my laminator, laminating pouches. Anything with laminating is kept right here. The next one, I just keep sheet protectors in here because I use them all the time, so I wanted to have a place for them. And that's all that I have in the two kind of long cabinets here on the side of my unit here. So friends, this is the wall unit, how I have it organized. I will be taking you through my other areas of my craft room. It just gets so long when you're doing it in a video, and I didn't want to make this too long. It's already long. But the key is I hope that these tips were helpful to you, because it really is great being able to open all these doors and keep the doors open as I craft, and then be able to close them off. And so it really functions well for me. But regardless of your space, you can have a space that functions for you. And that's the real message that I wanted to share with you, and to share my tips with how I've done it in the past with a bin, the same concept, and with a closet, this same concept. So I hope this is helpful to you, and I'll be coming with more of those videos. And also I want to let you know, if you are not a part of my Instagram, why are you not a part of my Instagram or my Facebook or my Twitter or my Pinterest? I would love to have you over there. I kind of try to give you a little tidbit heads up of videos to come. I'll shoot you a picture and tell you what videos coming up. I love to get to know you more personally over there on my social media platforms. So I do share a little more about my personal life over there on Instagram and Facebook. So whichever you use, definitely come join me over there. I am at home with Nikki on everything, so you can easily find me, and I'll link everything below also. I also want to give you an update on something exciting on my website, AtHomeWithNikki.com. You guys know I sent out a weekly newsletter, and we're making upgrades to it every week. And my friend girls in my personal life, the women that are closest to me, are going to be contributors every week, and they have so many skills. Angela is going to be sharing party tips with us every week in the newsletter, so you have to be subscribed. Go to At Home with Nikki to subscribe. Althea has a cleaning business, and she's going to be giving us those insider tips on how to keep our house clean every week. So you can check those out in the newsletter. Whitney is the style queen, and she's going to be giving us all those style tips for our home, for fashion, all kinds of things. And Angela is so inspirational, and she's going to be sharing those inspirational tips with us and kind of life tips. And then the beautiful Michelle is going to be sharing some mom tips every week, because she is such an awesome mom and she has the experience. So definitely check them out in my newsletter. Another update for my Facebook friends, you will start seeing these random bonus videos that I do that will be on Facebook only, where I share they're short videos where I'm going to just share information that I think is interesting. Like, I'm going to post a video today where I share the different types of coffees and coffee cups, because if you have a coffee bar in your home or anything, you want to know, what cup do I use to make this coffee, or what is the purpose of this coffee cup, because there is a variety. So I have a short little fun video where I kind of explain the different cups, the different types of coffee, and I'm going to be doing more of these videos on my Facebook, where I just share little information that I think would be fun around our home. So definitely join me on Facebook if you're interested in seeing those bonus videos. And so I'm so excited to bring just a bunch of different things to you. Questions of the day are coming back Monday on Facebook also, so definitely check those out. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Have a beautiful and blessed weekend, my friends, and this is Nikki saying goodbye.